Testing, testing.
Always jarring. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to Unity of Madison. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with us, either online or here in person. We feel your presence. And okay, after the service, we invite you to join us in the Namaste Cafe in the lower level for refreshments. I am Pat Arnold, and I am your celebration assistant today. So please join me in our opening song, Joy is What We Are.
It's more than a feeling, joy is what we are. It's more than a feeling, joy is what we are. Let's feel it, let's be it right now, right now. Let's feel it, let's be it right now, right now. It's more than a feeling, love is what we are. It's more than a feeling, love is what we are. Let's feel it, let's be it right now, right now. Let's feel it, let's be it right now, right now. More than a feeling, peace is what we are. It's more than a feeling, peace is what we are. Let's feel it, let's be it right now, right now. Let's feel it, let's be it right now, right now. It's more than a feeling, joy is what we we are. It's more than a feeling. Joy is what we are. Let's feel it, let's be it right now, right now. Let's feel it, let's be it right now, now. Let's feel it, let's be it right now, right now. Let's feel it, let's be it right now, right now.
And now I'd like to introduce our prayer chaplain. Carol Harm will come up here in a minute to open with a prayer. After the service, the prayer chaplains, Carol, will be available to pray with you in the prayer chaplain corner. And or written prayer requests can also be placed in the prayer box that is outside the prayer chaplain corner. Written prayer requests are held in prayer for 30 days here and then are sent to Silent Unity to be held for another 30 days. So that's an option also. So, Carol.
Thank you, Pat. Good morning. All right. So nice to see everyone. All right, so let's take a moment for prayer this morning. Divine Spirit, thank you for this much cooler day that brings us all here together again to learn and grow. We pray for those who have suffered losses from the recent heat and storms and send them our love and support as they recover from those losses. We are grateful for our speaker today who's come to share her message of awakening our divine consciousness. May we use this opportunity to learn and grow as we progress on our spiritual paths. We bless each and every one who gathers here today, both in person and online, since we would not be the same without all of your collective energy and consciousness. We are truly one in heart, mind, and spirit, and we can accomplish great things in oneness. And at Unity of Madison, we continue to affirm that our next right and perfect minister is on their way to us at this very moment, and we are blessed in this knowing. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Carol. And now, please join us in our congregation song, Our Thoughts Are Prayers.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Sing a higher consciousness, a place of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a place of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
Thank you. And now weekend updates. Okay, our speaker schedule for the next couple weeks. Next Sunday, August 6th, Barry Roberts, our licensed Unity teacher, in person. Yay! And the next Sunday, August 13th, the Reverend Tom Wendt will be here in person. And on August 20th, Reverend Richard Bunch will be here on video. Yay, that's good. So now I'd like to introduce Jennifer Parker from the Christmas in July bunch.
Good morning, everybody. I'm here representing many elves, which we're grateful for, that have helped us raise funds for domestic abuse intervention services all July. I am also grateful that we have a little cooler temperatures now, so we made it through. And I feel like it's a blessing to be here in Madison, given some of the temperatures that the rest of the country has. So thank you, everyone who has given to domestic abuse intervention services. We are collecting money today as well before we take down. If you've forgotten your checkbook or want to make a contribution online through a credit card, feel free to do that because we will be collecting during the next week. We are behind our goal of $3,100, and so we bless all of the prosperity that is coming to Christmas in July and through 2 days. So thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Jennifer. And what else have we got? Next week, I think, August 6th, we have a prayer chaplain question and answer after the service at 11:45. For anyone interested in the prayer chaplain program, please talk with any of the prayer chaplains if you have a question, or call Mary Lynn Mel via the church office with any questions and whatever. So, and there are other events on our webpage, so you can check those out also. So, and now I'd like to have one of the board members, yay, come up for a board report.
Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, I haven't been up here for a while. I'm Nancy Sundahl. I'm one of the trustees. I'm also the church treasurer, and I'm on the search team. And we have a huge board announcement today. We have lots of things to announce, so it's really exciting. It's neat that there's a construction picture because it relates. So first news is we have recently received in the last couple of weeks 2 applications for our minister. So the search team and the board are in the process of interviewing, and you will get updates as we have them. So we're really pleased to announce that. And we continue to affirm that the right and perfect minister is being drawn to us. Whether it's one of these 2 individuals or someone else, we know it's all in divine order. And thank you for your prayers and affirmations. The other big piece of news from the board meeting is that after several months of lengthy research and coming up with lots of bids, or a number of bids in different substances, we looked at concrete, we looked at asphalt, we looked at permeable paving for our falling apart parking lot. And that's one of our biggest expense capital campaign project. We ended up choosing concrete. It's more durable than asphalt. You know, we can expect a lifetime of 30 or more years versus 20. Although I think this one's probably been there for at least 30 years since that's when we bought the property, and I don't remember us ever paving it. But obviously, it's no longer really alive. So concrete is more expensive than asphalt, but when we looked at taking those upfront costs, when we looked at taking the cost of concrete versus asphalt with the resealing that should get done and everything, it's kind of, they come together, the costs over 20 or 30 years, and then, so that's what we looked at. So we are going with concrete. Our hope is to have it done end of August, early September. We did explore permeable for people who are interested. We had someone come out to look at, Steve did research on that, and the recommendation is if you put in permeable pavement, you put it in for 20% of the area. It would have cost an additional $60,000 to put in permeable pavement in 20% of the area. And if we put it in a smaller part, it would have been less, but we just decided it was not, the cost-benefit analysis didn't work out. The concrete pavement will still be more than what we had estimated when we came up with our estimates in November. So it will be $70,000 to redo the parking lot. That includes curbing in the areas where there's curbing. They'll be doing a slight swale down the center, so water coming off the roof will go towards that swale. Water from where they push the snow in the winter will go down that swale instead of coming across the parking lot to the front door. It's, we feel pretty good about it. We did extensive research. And so what it means overall when we look at the AV, the skylights, which we're told will still get done this year, the front walkway and the parking lot, the things we told you in November, we had estimated a total cost of about $100,000. When all is said and done, when we finish all the projects, it will be more like $130,000, $135,000. So just so you know that. We've decided to postpone the front walkways. We can use the same contractor, but postpone that to next year to spread out our costs some. And we just want to thank you all who have contributed and continue to contribute to our capital campaign. We've brought in, as of the end of June, we've brought in about $43,000. So that's really impressive that we've brought in that much. Folks pledged $72,800. Not everyone pledged. I don't track it as to like, oh, you pledged and you haven't given yet, or you didn't pledge and you are giving. So, none of that. But just letting you know, anyone who chooses to, maybe do their third year one early, we'll welcome that. So that's where we are. In terms of funds coming into the church, we had about, did I write this down on here? We had a little over 2,000 come in for the capital campaign again in June. And our operating fund income, our general fund donations were down a bit in both May and June. So just a reminder, I know it's summer, people are here and not here, to continue to support our operating fund. The gutters that you know we did out front, even though it's a capital expense, we did not use BFOF funds for that. We used maintenance funds from our general operating budget for that, because we felt like that was something we would have gone ahead and done whether or not we had a capital campaign. That was a little over $5,000. So if you're one of the people who read the reports out front when they get posted, the fact that our expenses exceeded our income by about $4,600 in June is partly due to our income was down, and partly due to that was over $5,000 in June for the gutters. So that's all the finance stuff. We also had a generous bequest that came in recently from a long ago member. And that was our third bequest in the last year. So it's really nice to see people remembering us. For now, what you might notice, if you look at stuff out there, for now, we put it in the BFOF money market. We earn some interest on it. We can use those funds. All is good. If down the road, when we get a new minister or whatever, we're feeling like we need to shift some funds over to our operating budget, we will, because BFOF stands for Building for Our Future, and obviously, keep staying in business builds our future. So just so you know that, you'll suddenly go, wow, the numbers jumped dramatically, and that would be why. And we thank that person, that person's heirs, for that bequest, along with the others that we received earlier in the year. Other news from our meeting, our wonderful youth ed director, Jessica Rippenberg, has organized a youth and family retreat in November to Eagle Cave. I was just talking to her, and they have 20 people signed up to go. That's counting kids and adults. The families are really excited. They'll be going for the weekend and camping in a cave and exploring a cave. And so that's pretty exciting. The board decided to be a sponsor, and we're paying a quarter of the cost of that, so that offsets the cost to the families. And then they'll be doing some fundraising, probably some bake sales and all, to raise funds as well. So look for ways that you can support that by buying things from them. Also, if there's any families that do need a scholarship in order to have their whole family go, the board agreed that we'd do that as well. And then, so that sounds like a really nice event. And then the last thing, speaking of events, is Joanne told us that the office regularly receives things like event opportunities. You know, like the Mallards game says, would you like to get a block of tickets and take a group to a Mallards game? Or forward soccer, would you like to take a group here? Or, hey, we'd like to come do a peace circle. We'd like to put on a concert. And we'd like to expand the opportunities for sacred service here and not have it all on, you know, just a few people in the office or on the board. So if this calls to you, if you say, wow, I would love to be the point person for events and opportunities at Unity of Madison, and be the one that the office could pass that information on to, you could put out sign-up sheets, publicize it, communicate with the organizer. You know, you and a friend, anybody want to do that, that calls to you, you can speak to any board member or the office and say, I would love to be an events opportunities team or point person. So thank you. That was a longer board report, but as you can see, it was a really productive meeting. So we feel very blessed by everybody's gifts, tithes, sacred service coming in, and thank you so much for helping to, through your gifts, to help us to go forward with these projects. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. So, okay, where are we? Oh, okay. So I'd like to welcome anyone joining us for the first time this morning. Unity of Madison is an inclusive spiritual community that welcomes people of all faiths and backgrounds. We acknowledge the wisdom of all spiritual traditions and respect each individual's right to choose a spiritual path. Our goal is to empower and encourage each other in our spiritual journey. If you would like to know more about Unity of Madison, there are informational packets available on the back table. And if you are online, you can request a welcome packet through the website, unityofmadison.org, or send an email to office@unityofmadison.org. So please join me in our affirmation. There it is. Unity of Madison is abundantly blessed. Creative people are drawn to us. Divine ideas flow through us. Financial resources bless us. And with God as our source, we accomplish mighty works together. So now please join me in greeting your neighbor. Let's see.
I see the light in your eyes shining through, a reflection of all that is true. Divinity shows in what you do. I see infinite life in you. I see the light in your eyes shining through, a reflection of all that is true. Divinity shows in what you do. I see infinite life in you. I see the light in your eyes shining through, a reflection of all that is true. Divinity infinite life in you.
Thank you. That was lovely. So I'd like to do our introductions, celebration. Okay. Our talk this morning is from Reverend Aubree-Lyn Maugeri. Maugeri? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Maugeri, okay. Even from the first time she walked into a New Thought church, Reverend Aubree-Lyn knew she had come home. She had found a place that spoke to her inner truths and filled a void in her house that even a successful career could not. Joining Unity 4 years ago, adding to her 20-year ministry, she is now a licensed and ordained Unity minister, plus being a licensed and ordained minister from the Centers for Spiritual Living. Reverend Aubree-Lyn is an inspirational speaker, an enthusiastic teacher, and a warm and compassionate minister with a delightful sense of humor and a heart of gold. So welcome, Reverend Aubree-Lyn. And our gratitude, and our musicians for today is, yay, our own Pete Calgaro. And our gratitude of the week. This week, we are grateful for this community of individuals, for their eagerness to expand their knowledge, awareness, and growth by taking classes and participating in book groups. Classes and book groups are a great way to enjoy community, laughter, and appreciate each other and learn together. So, gratitude for all of us. That's it. Yay! And now the daily word. Today's word today is renew. Renewal is a part of the rhythm of daily life. Eating and drinking to nourish and replenish my body, resting to quiet my mind, and sleeping after a day of activity are all ways to renew myself. But sometimes those efforts aren't quite enough to sustain me. At times, when I feel drained at depth, I may need spiritual renewal. God, the one presence and power, is with me always, but it is up to me to keep my awareness of God strong. When I awaken, I say a prayer of blessing for what the day will bring. Throughout the day, I feel God's presence all around me. When I prepare for sleep, I say a prayer of gratitude for all the day has brought. In God, I am renewed moment by moment, day by day. And from the 2 Corinthians, we look not at what can be seen, but at what cannot be seen. For what can be seen is temporary, but what cannot be seen is eternal. And please join me in our affirmation. I am okay. Yay. It was a surprise, but that's okay. So now I'd like to introduce Pete for our special music.
That's what Wonder's all about, right? Surprise. And being okay with that, right? So a lot of people, when they came in this morning and saw this little contraption up here, were like, what the heck is that? It's a pump organ. It's called a harmonium. And so by pumping it, it actually makes sound. And I'm going to do a chant, and I would invite you to join in whenever you feel comfortable. It's really a chant to get us to the present moment, to be totally in our bodies, and to be totally here now. In the present moment, in the eternal now, in the present moment, everything happens. In the present moment, in the eternal now, in the present moment, everything happens. This is the second part. Everything, everything, everything happens. Everything, everything, everything happens. In the present moment, in the eternal now, in the present moment, everything happens. Everything, everything, everything happens. Everything, everything, everything happens. In the present moment, in the eternal now, in the present moment, everything happens. Everything, everything, everything happens. Everything, everything, everything happens. In the present moment, in the eternal now, in the present moment, everything happens. Everything, everything, everything happens. Everything, everything, everything happens. In the present moment, in the eternal now, in the present moment, everything happens. Everything, everything, everything happens. Everything, everything, everything happens.
Wow, is your heart vibrating? That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Let's give him some love. Wow. Oh, greetings from Unity Sheboygan. Also, greetings from Diane Pauley. She said to send her love to all of you, so I'm sending her love. She is filling in for me today as platform person. And a challenge to your board. My board today is each one taking one of the Unity 5 principles and talking about how it applies to their life. So I'm so excited to watch it during the week and see how those guys did. So that's a good thing for them. So I'd like to preface my talk today. It's taken from a study I've done now for, almost 9 months, Dimensions and Awakening of Divine Consciousness. And it's understanding Earth's journey from the 3rd to the 5th dimension. Are any of you familiar with that at all? Okay, couple. Yeah, a couple. Interesting. You know, I was speaking about this. My chiropractor is like a guru kind of guy, wonderful human being. And he had mentioned this, and I had mentioned it to my office manager, and she bought 2 books. And we did a 6-month dive into this book ourselves, just the 2 of us, and then brought it to the congregation and stuff. And it's really interesting. So I can't obviously give you 5 dimensions in one Sunday talk, because it took 5 Sunday talks to do that at my church. But I wanted to give you an idea where I was going as I'm leading you into it, so you're not like, where is she today? So I just wanted to preface this. Amazing concept, except that it gets a little woo at the end of the book. I just thought I'd share that with you. Okay, so anyhow, it's such a pleasure to be here again. You guys always make me feel so welcome, and I love being here. So this is what I know. So as we grow and as we evolve, our universe is always growing and it's evolving. As such, we have this capacity within us then to awaken our divine consciousness. Would you agree with me on that? Right? We have that capacity. And it may even appear since COVID, but I say even before COVID, we seem to be somewhat in the darkness of our soul. Not we, but we humanity. Right? We've been watching, and things just are not quite where they feel comfortable in our heart space. So my question then, is there a time of collapse? Is there a time of ending and a time of shredding? And I think so. I think this is the time. And the big question, is this necessary? And again, I think so. I think so. If in fact a collapse of what was is happening, then we must ask ourselves and each other, how do we navigate through this? How do we navigate through this constant change that we're being bombarded with right now? So in our world, more importantly, in terms of human capacity to endure emptiness, we have to come to terms with what it is that will move us forward in an uplifting capacity. And that's going to take a big change from here to over here, which we'll get to. So as we move through a period of releasing and letting go, then we have to realize what? The change is upon us. We can't expect those out there to change for us. Only we from within can change. Is that true? Is that unity? Is that New Thought teaching? Right, of course. So going forward, with or without us, the universe is evolving, with or without us. And we must begin to recognize and accept what is happening and turn our energies towards a new and exciting future. Would you agree with me on that? Yeah? Okay, good. We're doing good. So basically then in life, we think we've reached this point where we're done, right? I love this. Listen to this. I thought that my voyage had come to its end, and at the last limit of my power, the path before me was closed. Those provisions were exhausted, and time came to take shelter in a silent obscurity. Anyone ever feel that level of doneness, like I'm done? But then you go, well, then what? What's next if I'm done? right? I was retired before Sheboygan got me. Now I'm rewired, but I was retired, and yeah, you gotta work it that way. And then I went to help a friend of mine in the beauty industry, and I'm from the beauty industry before all of this, and I was helping her with her business, and I didn't want any part of it, but it was a friend and she needed help, and I felt I was done. Like, I'm done. I've done this. I'm done. But I find that thy will knows no end in me. The will knows no end in me. The will knows no end in you. The will of God has a better plan, and there's always a better plan. You just have to be aware of it. But you have to be able to hear the call. Not these outside voices that are making us a bit mad, but the silent voice within your heart. Fillmore tells us in The Atom-Smashing Power of Mind. Have any of you read that book? Oh my God, that is so amazing. Do you know that when he wrote the book that the FBI actually investigated him because they wanted to know where he got his information? Because, yeah, Atomic Smashing Power of Mind, it's a little book. It is mind-boggling. But in this book, he says that we have to listen with God's ears and to feel and know rather than listening for voices. So let me say that again, that we have to listen with God's ears to feel and know rather than listening for voices. That's Fillmore. So for me, I felt the stirring, heard the discontent. I'm done. And I heard the silence saying, stay with the question. So many times we all want an answer, but sometimes you just have to stay with the question. What is the question? And let that come up and be its teacher for you. And then Fillmore goes on to say, and old worlds die out of the tongue. New melodies break forth from the heart where old tracks are lost. Listen, new melodies break forth from the heart where old tracks are lost. New country is revealed with its wonder. So as we stay with the question and we allow life to come embody within our heart and soul, all of a sudden newness, new country, new beginning in the mind, the country in the mind reveals itself with wonder, and you go, oh my God, I didn't even know this could be possible. And look what happened. Look what happened. It's so awesome. So you can see then, if we listen, and hear, the newness is revealed, and it is wondrous. For me, you know the story. I was called to Unity and found the next chapter of my life. And last May 1st, I celebrated 5 years with them. So, yeah, I've been there 5 years now. And yeah, thanks. Yeah. And they actually still like me. It's amazing. Yeah. So each and every day then we're evolving. Even if you say to me, no, I'm stuck and I don't know why, even then you're evolving because you know you're stuck. You wouldn't be evolving if you didn't know you're stuck. I'm stuck. And there's that divine impulse in you that is pushing and pushing and saying, wake up. And that's what we all have to do because we're sleeping. We got to wake up, me included, by the way. So how do you step up? How do you step up and grow in awareness? How do we prepare to be stretched into this new awareness of divine consciousness? How do we do that? Leo Tu Zhao, I never say these words right, but that's okay. He says, the key to growth is the introduction of a higher dimension of consciousness. Higher dimension of consciousness. How many years ago was this, right? The key to growth is the introduction of higher dimension of consciousness into awareness. ABC, awareness brings consciousness. That would be Science Mind 101. It was drummed in your ears like, when we get to know it, when we took those classes years ago. I will tell you that a big part of this higher dimension comes from meditation. No big surprise, right? Higher consciousness from meditation. Part of where I will be going is for you to understand, though, there's work to be done. There's work to be done. A lot of it. And it begins with each one of us allowing the time to be with self. We're so busy filling every space in our appointment book. And we say, when can you come over for lunch? Well, let me see. I have 3 weeks from today on a Tuesday at 12. That's craziness. That's craziness, absolute craziness, right? It begins with each of us allowing time to be with ourselves and to reach within to that absolute stillness that definitely speaks to us. Evolving, evolution are going on whether we want to accept it or not. It's happening. We can either be stuck over here, which I'll talk about soon, or we can start moving over here. We get to choose. That's the one thing nobody likes about New Thought. We're responsible. We get to choose, right? Darn. Wish there was an easier way. I've tried guilt. It doesn't work, so that's what we'll do. So think of a stream flowing to a river, okay? Stream flowing to a river, right? What does it do when it hits a blockage? What does it do? It goes around it, right? When it hits a blockage, it goes around it, it goes through it, it goes over it, right? What it doesn't do is stop. What we do is stop. Oh my God, what do I do now? Right? What do I do now? It doesn't stop. We, on the other hand, we being humanity, tend to stop. So I looked up Fillmore's definition of evolution, and here's what he had to say. The development achieved by man working under spiritual law. Evolution, the development achieved by man working under a spiritual law. It is the results of the development of the ideas in the mind. The ideas in the mind. What we are is the result of our evolution of consciousness. So if we don't keep our consciousness lifting higher and higher and higher, then we're not evolving. Complacency is poison as far as I'm concerned. That's my own personal opinion, right? What we are is the result of evolution of our consciousness, and in that consciousness is the result of the seed that we have sown in mind. Does that make sense? Right? What we have sown, what we have planted within us is what is there all the time. So in the beginning, God implanted his perfect word. And the word was with God, and it was good. Evolved this seed and word into every man. Everything was there from the word. So it's important that you know that evolution then is the unfolding in consciousness of that which God is involved in man in the beginning. Does that make sense to you guys? Right? So the key word then here is involved, and I'll tell you why. Because involved, which is involution means God is involved. Involution, God's involved. Involution is the unfolding. Involution is always present and precedes evolution, the unfolding. Involution, God's involved. Evolution, the unfolding, we're involved. Is that right? See the balance of that? But God has to be involved first. So if you set out this great plan, and be it a business plan, a new career, buying a house, planning for your kids for college, you set out a new plan, but you haven't involved God in it, you don't have that strength behind it. Does that make sense? Right? God comes first. God comes first. Holy Spirit is the action of God. So it's really important to understand this as I move into this slightly new concept. Is it possible to make you say, I know, I'm open to newness, but how do we prepare to stretch? I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I get it. We've heard this before. I'm not saying too much that you don't already know. But how do we prepare for that stretch? How do we prepare for it? By being open, listening, allowing the process, allowing to stay with the question, allowing for stillness, allowing for time for yourself. Most people are afraid of change. Most people are afraid of newness. I'd rather stay here stuck because I know this than to move over here and go, oh my God, what a wonder. So always, always, always try to embrace newness. Bless it. Ask to know the truth and just move on, because truth, with a capital T, will always present itself. Is that not true? You may try to ignore it, you may try to look the other way, but when it comes down to the brass tacks, doesn't truth always come up in center, right? How many of you remember the fifth dimension, the dawning of Aquarius? Right? In truth, that started long ago, but humanity is just catching up, right? So there's this gap that what Wayne Dyer spoke of, the space between the five senses, remember? The stillness, the liminality, that word that came out after COVID, liminality. Liminality was telling us it's okay to not know where you're going right now. It's okay to stay in the gap or stay in the question, right? So someone in the beginning of this in our center said, well, this third dimension and fifth dimension stuff isn't unity. Well, guess what? In 1929, Fillmore wrote about the fourth dimension in his book, Atomic Smashing. Yeah, how long ago Fillmore talked about moving from the third to the fourth dimension? So guess what, guys? This is unity. This is unity. So I'm off the hook on that one. So I know you got to watch those guys. That's not unity. Don't do that to your ministers. That's really annoying. That's not real unity. So Fillmore, as was Dr. Holmes, was convinced that science and religion must walk hand in hand. That's the opening of the Science and Mind textbook. There will come a day when religion and science walk hand in hand, which they are doing, right? Fillmore said we must develop capacity to understand the atomic structure of the universe. I think that's when the feds got him there. And he says we must have a spiritual understanding as well. And Fillmore tells us we must listen with our inner ears, our spiritual ears. He says that you unfold your spiritual nature, you will find the sound of your outer ear has the capacity for receiving vibrations. And that's where we start to shift. We feel the vibrations. How many times have you thought about someone you haven't talked to for 6 months and then they call you? Right? Right? How many times does that happen? Somebody was supposed to come with me today, and I knew before I went to bed last night that I would get a call at 6 o'clock in the morning, and she wasn't going to come, and she didn't, because she had a party last night, but I knew it, so, yeah. God love her. She's been here before with me, though, the last time. So here's the kicker, though, from Fillmore. He says the more spiritual truth you pile in your mind, the more you have of reality, and the larger is your capacity for the unlimited. But he says you must have a good spiritual foundation. It's just like I was saying, if you're planning something, you're planning a house, or you're planning a new job, or being an entrepreneur, without the foundation of God, the Holy Spirit, the universal intelligence with you, how does that happen? You have to have a spiritual foundation. And that's truth, right? Is that truth? Right? What is your foundation? You know, it's like the 3 pigs in their houses. I'm going to blow them apart without the strong foundation. You can't fake this stuff, guys. Can't fake this. Prayer, meditation, goodness, and kindness must move us forward to keep up with the universe. God bless you. It's the truth. You know, a year ago I had a very unpleasant circumstances. That was my fault. I raised my hand, my fault. And it was traumatic for me. And I made a decision, and I did it for 365 days. I journaled every day on who I wanted to be, how I wanted to be, and anytime I was off, just a smidge, you know, I journaled to the Holy Mother. I'm a Holy Mother, Divine Mother, you know, Mother Mary. I always say crystal words of wisdom because I think they're crystal words. So, and every day for 1 year, I wrote it day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Because prayer, meditation, goodness, kindness must move us forward. And if we do something that isn't up to who and what we are as a person, and I don't like the word atone, but if we don't look at it, we bury stuff and we bury it deeper and deeper and like it never happened. And I invite you not to do that with your life. You don't have to go to the person, you don't, just your own work. See, I said to you earlier, there's work to be done. We all have work to be done. So, I'm going to go to the beginning of time now. In the beginning of time, the first dimension, it took a zillion years to move through. The beginning of time, the first dimension took a zillion years to move through. We were all born in a third dimension. Okay? The 3D world, which is this world over here that we must start to step out of. We must start to step out of this. The 3D world, feelings and reactions are closely attached to the ego. Think about the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. I'm reading a book now called Great Minds, and oh my God, the misconception of that whole era is mind-boggling. The ego can be a roller coaster ride. We know that, right? We all know about that part. We know that it's good if we control it, but if it controls us, it's not so good. Your sense of self is often insecure and eternally dependent on the perceptions of others. If you like me today, then I feel good because you like me. And truthfully, whether you like me or not is none of my business. It's only my business if I like me. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying that as arrogant. I don't mean it arrogantly at all. But we're so like, oh my God, do they like me? Do they like me? Did I say the wrong thing? Oh, I'm so sorry. You know, we get so caught up in that. So your sense of self is often insecure, and it's dependent on others' perceptions responding to you. And this, of course, is a generalization, but basically from my studies in the 3D world, ego rules. This can be why people feel uncomfortable, not happy, not sad. And there's so many of us pushing through this. Do you ever have that? I'm healthy, I'm not happy, I'm not sad, I'm just, and you feel just, right? Right. So there's this desire to be more, give more, be better, the willingness to change into a better version of who you are each day. I wake up every morning and Holy Mother, let me be a better person today than I was yesterday. And I did that for 365 days. And I want to tell you that this person who was a year ago, that person are two different people. The work has to be done from within. This is the tip of the iceberg, and that is why in our center we did a book study on this for 8 weeks to dig deeper and understand more. So the 3D, ego-based, we were born into this. Fourth dimension is raising consciousness, that's all. Take the word dimension out of it if it confuses you and put the word consciousness in and it's the same exact thing. Does that make sense? Dimension, consciousness, rising your vibration, rising your consciousness. It's the same thing, right? For today, let me say this. In spiritual and metaphysical circles, the talk is about waking up and moving into fourth and fifth. Well, fifth dimension living is the perfection. Yeah, we'd all like to be there, but I have this many feet over here in fourth. And I'm just moving to be a better person, that's all. And to have higher vibrations so that when negativity comes at you, your vibration is higher and it's strong enough to just go like this and let it not affect you. It's like putting yourself in a bubble of pure white light. That's all. Being kinder, being gooder. Gooder, what kind of English is that? Oh my God. My daughter would be going, Mom, you and your grandma. So, yesterday I was driving a friend home on 23, which is a busy street in Sheboygan, and someone wanted to pass, and they were on my butt like this, right? Do you have that around here too, right? So I literally was about to put the blinker on to get over because that's the right thing to do. Doesn't matter that that person's being ridiculous. It's mine to do. Just move over. What's ours to do? Move over. Let it be. And he pulls around me so fast and gives me the finger. We can't do that anymore, guys. Right? This is not the way we have to live anymore. We need to move out of this mentality, and we need to do it now, starting today. Slow down, live, feel, listen, be. We have to stop being nasty and mean to people. We have to love. We're losing it. We've lost civility. And it's up to us being new thought people. We are the light bearers. We are the ones that know the truth, and we are the ones that can do this. So that means when you leave here today, you remember this all week, not just today. A better driver, a better person in the grocery store, a better person at the bank. Help somebody that needs to put groceries in their car. Care about your neighbors. And I say unity, and I say Centers for Spiritual Living and clergy all need to be doing a better job too. And that is my work. Our job is not in here. My job as a minister is not in my church. It's out in the community. And we need to find out, like this. This is beautiful. More and more of this. We've got to care. We have to care. The ascension of humans becoming the spiritual beings that we were born to be, it's nothing new. So now I think we're ready to look at this process and see, does this make sense to you? Does this make sense? And realize that you've been on this path to get out of this stuff. You've been there already because you're here, right? What I see as the results of this is we have to become more tolerant of people. No longer be angry. Give it up. Give up the anger. Let it go. Feel our emotions deeply. Truly appreciate nature. Huge energy flows to our heart if we're open to receive. And peace is our natural state of being. We ease into peace naturally. Joy, harmony, love. What I'm learning, I truly believe humanity can no longer stay as it is. This is my belief. We are, as the people of this world, all of us, we must change. We must wake up. Self-realization will awaken the Holy Spirit within. So each day I ask myself, and each day I ask you, can you wake up tomorrow to a radically new day? Can you? Thank you.
When I let go, everything falls together when I let go. Everything falls together, 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 together. When I let go, everything falls together. When I let go, everything falls together, 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 together.
The purpose of meditation is to evoke the divine ground of your being, to be in the allness of God. Meditation is not scary, unteachable, or unreachable. So today, I will bring you through foundation meditation called the 3 commitments of meditation. So let us begin. The first commitment is just be still. So I ask you to find a comfortable position, taking everything off your lap or removing anything that is cumbersome. For those of you at home, you can sit on a cushion or a chair. The key, either way, is to be in a position where you can keep your back up in a straight position. If it's comfortable for you, close your eyes. To be still is also the issue of your eyes opened or closed, because it makes it easier to be present in a deep way in your own experience. Sometimes your mind is just too busy and you get flooded with spontaneous images. You can open your eyes. But for the most part, in general, the goal is to be present with your eyes closed. So in this first commitment, you are just allowing yourself to become present to your physicality, to your body. And you are just allowing your body to settle into a kind of stillness, a kind of a physical stillness. You're not trying to force any kind of stillness upon yourself. You are allowing your body to find its own natural state of ease. And by being still, you're also beginning to root your attention into the present moment. And by focusing on letting the body rest in the stillness, you're removing your awareness from your mind into the stillness of the body. Into the stillness. And for the moment, you are not worrying about the mind. You may be thinking. You may not be thinking so much. It doesn't matter either way. You're just not feeling the thoughts. You are putting your awareness into the body. Feel how your body feels on the chair, the solidity of it, of the ground underfoot. This is called a commitment because each time you meditate, you are committing to being still. Because if the body moves and readjusts, then the mind will never be still. So you are committing, making a commitment for the period of meditation, not to move the body unless it is absolutely necessary. At the same time, you are letting go of all rigidity, again, letting the body find its own stillness, its own relaxation. You now notice your body is breathing. This is the second commitment. To rest your awareness in the stillness of the breath in the belly. Rest your awareness in the stillness of the breath in the belly. You are not trying to change your breath or alter it in any way. You are just resting in it. And although the breath is moving in and out, as you rest your attention, you will begin to feel a kind of stillness of the breath in your body and around your body. Sometimes when you're new to this, you may become aware that your breath may be a little tight, feels a little jagged. That's quite natural at the beginning because we are just not used to resting in our awareness. What we usually do is we grasp things in our awareness. It's an unconscious thing to grasp. We use words very specifically in this meditation, like the word rest. Rest in the stillness in the breath. But you are also bringing awareness to the breath. And if you get lost in your mind, you can just say to yourself, stillness of breath on the out breath. Stillness of breath. Just giving your mind something to do, and it's just reminding you to just rest in the stillness of the breath. Just feel it in, out, stillness of breath. Not thinking about it, not analyzing it, just feeling. Your breath is an anchor. You will use it again and again and again in all meditations because it is non-conceptual. You can always use it. You can always come back to it. You do not need to think about it. You do not need to imagine it. It is always there. Your breath is like the ballast deep in your belly, and it helps reveal the stillness of your being. It brings the quiet awareness. When your mind and body are completely quiet, your mind can still be talking, but you still may have the feeling or emotion of awareness of self and become complete. And the last commitment is the commitment of compassion. Compassion of the return to the stillness of the breath each time you notice you get lost in your mind. Compassion. Even if you get lost 100 times, it doesn't matter. Just compassionately and simply return your attention to the stillness of the breath. This is a simple meditation. Be still. Rest in the stillness of the breath in the belly. Have compassion for the return of the stillness of the breath. Allow yourself to be gentle with yourself. Allow yourself to honor yourself. Allow yourself to hear. And I'd like to close my meditations with this little prayer. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be safe. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be safe. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be safe.
Radiant one, you shine.
It's going to be a little funky.
If you don't know just what to do, go within. If you don't know just what to do, go within. Just let go of what you know. Just let go of what you know. Just let go. Just let go. Just let go of what you know. If you don't know just what to do, go within. If you don't know just what to do, go within. If you don't know just what to do, go within. Just let go of what you know. Just let go of what you know. If you don't know just what to do, go within.
Thank you, Pete. Okay, so now, let's see, where are we? Now it's a time when we collect our offering. So please take your tithes and offerings in your hands, place them over your heart as we say together our offertory blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I love, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you.
When we give, we receive. When we share, more comes back to us. We live in an abundant universe. When we give, we receive. When we share, more comes back to us. We live in an abundant universe. When we give, we receive. When we share, more comes back to us. We live in an abundant universe. When we give, we receive. When we share, more comes back to us. We live in an abundant universe.
Would the ushers please come forward? And please join me in blessings blessing our offerings. We are grateful for these tithes and offerings. We bless them and send them forth to do their great and mighty works. Okay, thank you. And now please join me in our youth prayer. We are now open our hearts to the children and families seeking a welcoming spiritual community filled with light and love. And so it is. Amen. We have no children. Okay. So let's join me in the Youth Ed blessing anyway, because Youth Ed program, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. And no birthdays today, so now please join me in our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as greater. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Please join me in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.